Hello everyone, I'm Alex from alexlancer.com, and in this tutorial we are finally getting to access our protected resource in CodeIgniter 4 using VueJS. So in previous tutorial we have signed up and we also have signed in using our username and password, where in return we are getting our access token that we can use now to access our blog post. So let's get started. So this page that we named an admin page is actually the page where we will display everything that we need. So let's get started by adding a form that we will copy from our. So I have closed some tabs here, as you can see, and I want to go to our sign up method. Let's grab all the divs inside all this form, so everything inside the template, and let's bring it to our admin.vue. Let's go up, and so the title of the form will be what it should be. Let's name it post. Yeah, just a post. So on form submit we will run a save method. So we don't need class, action, method, post, we don't use it, we don't need nothing of that. So the first label will be our title, so this will be the title of the post. First name, last name, we don't need anything, so this will be also title. And here, instead of, so let's make the title class, let's make it call 12 by default, and again underneath we will use the content field, but instead of the input we will add text area. And of course we will have to add the closing tag, because text area needs a closing tag. Okay, that's fine. V model, so let me see. Yeah, instead of the last name, let's change it to the content. This looks fine. So we don't need email address, password, confirm password, we don't need all these things. We will leave our error message, our alert message, but of course we have to import it, so let's do that right away. Import alert from CMP's components alert, and components plural. Let's use the alert. Okay, and of course we have to add to our data method here, we have to return MSG, as you remember, that is null by default, and a class alert that is also null. Okay, that's the basics that we need for now. So let's create a method save. Actually, we'll have quite a few methods here, so let's put them on the bottom. And for sure we'll have a save method. We will have a create method. We will have an update method. Let's get method, that we will get all the posts. We will also have get post method. And Oh, and of course we will have a delete method here that will delete our post when we need it. Now, from where should we start? So, one of the things that we have to take into account here is that we will use the same form and to create a post and to update a post. So we should find a way to understand whether the post should be updated or created. Therefore, I believe it is a good thing to add to our form a hidden input. So let's say input, hidden input, type hidden, and let's say v model. Actually, we don't need the input, but we need a variable inside of our data return, post ID, that by default this post ID will be a null, and whenever we will be editing a post, we will be setting this post ID to the actual ID of that post. So yeah, that's how we'll do it. So now, one more thing that we need here is, let's put we will need to add an image to the right side of our form. So to do that, we need a little bit of CSS adjustments, and let's take this call SM offsets. We don't need the offsets because we want to use now all the width, and the width we will be using is this is fine. Okay, so then we don't need this container here for sure. So where it finishes, yeah, this, we remove the container from above the h3 tag, and we remove also one div below at the bottom. So now we have our HR, our form, and let me understand how we're gonna do that. So inside of our form, we have our row. Okay, so let's make it call 12, call SM, call 12, call SM 8. Okay, so now inside of that, let's add a div with a class of row. So this row will take care about, yeah, inside this row now let's add another div also. So okay, I got it. Class call 12, and this is where we will store our first form group in this call 12. Let's take this row and so come on, let's save it. We have formatting issues here, yeah, right now. So let me see again. We have this row that has all of it, correct? Okay guys, sorry if trying to figure out how to structure this HTML here. So we need a row, we create a call sm8 and we need a call sm4 for our image. Okay, so we have to take this content and put it inside our call sm8. Okay, got it. So call sm8. Okay, yeah, and now we create our second div, which will be class call 12 call sm4. So this call sm4, what it will do, we actually, let's create an image here. Image, leave the source for now. Let's add the class of img liquid, not liquid, fluid. Yeah, and underneath, let's create also a class that will be a form group input. So the input, now we will have to specify type file. We will give a reference so that we can access it by similar to jQuery. So once we will update the image field, we will need to access it. So we will use a reference, this ref attribute, to access this object, similar to how you do it in a jQuery. So featured image, yeah, and we need a class. Let's add a class form control file. Okay, so one more thing we have to add here is, because I want to add a live preview, so I want an image to be shown inside of this inside of the wrapper that we have created here, inside of this image tag. We will have to add an event listener to our input, and we will say a change. Let's say update preview. So this update preview, we want to pass an event inside here, and we will listen to this event in a method, yet another method that we have to create, update preview, and listen to the event. Okay, so now I think our HTML is ready, so let's just check it at least. So event is defined but never used. Okay, VueJS, with your strict policies. So event defined but never used. Let's log it. Better? Yeah. So, okay, we don't need already have an account for sure. This we don't need. So now the register, let's change it a little bit, and let's say that if post ID, so if post ID is not false or is not null, if post ID, then the text would be update. So this means that we are editing a post. Therefore, we have a post ID instantiated and it is not null. In other case, if it is null, we will say create. So it means that we will be creating a post. Okay, awesome that. And by default, I would like to add an image to our to our image tag here. So our source will be a computed value, let's say. So a computed value means that this value can change anytime, and we want this value image preview. Okay, so let's go now here to our components and everything else. Let's say computed, and our computed image preview will depend upon, so return what we will return. So let's say we will need to add a few more values here. So first of all, we will have a post value that for now will be empty, okay, but we will get all the posts so that we can display them below. We will have our title, that will be the title input. We will have our content, that will be our content input. We will have an image, that will be our image file that we try to upload. So let's make it also an empty string for now. We have our post ID, have our message class ID. So I have also prepared placeholder, image placeholder. Let me just grab it from here where I have it. And this is just a default image from placeholder.com website. So what we can say here, if image preview will be if this image equals nothing, then we want to return image placeholder. So this placeholder, else return this image. This image. Okay, so let's see what we have now. Yep, and by default we are getting this awesome placeholder. So let me add few rows to our form. So image preview, content, image preview. No, to our text area. Yeah, let's make it row 7. Rows, not row, rows. Okay, that's much better. So do we need anything else here? Maybe some margins, maybe some buttons. So we need one more button here, so that we can cancel. Let's remove this call SM4, so that we can cancel the form submission. Actually, this button will clear up our form. So let's make it a button. At click, let's prevent and run a cancel method. Again, we will have to create it. Let's make it a cancel button. Some classes that I would like to add are class equals btn not success. Let's make it a secondary btn secondary class, and float right. So this looks fine, and now we have to create our cancel method. So let's go here, cancel and cancel. So what cancel can do, actually, it will clear up some of our fields. it will reset some of our fields. So for instance, we have this post. Let's say this post ID will be resetted to null again. Then we will need our this title, this content. Actually, this should not be null, but rather this will be empty strings. This image also, let's copy it from here, image, and message could be also returned to its initial state. So message class, and you know what, actually so let's make message. What's the name of the class alert exactly? So we have our class alert also null, message null, and that's it for now. We'll see what else we can do there. So this is what our cancel button would do. So for instance, if we go here, write something, then we cancel, everything gets resetted. So let's add a beautiful horizontal line. Beautiful horizontal line where we have it. So inside of our call 12, right here, where we will add it in. So now, okay, let's just give this choose file some clearance on the top. So form group, margin top 3. Okay, so this looks better. And let me check just if it does what I wanted to do. It does not. So okay, we will see this. For now, let's continue with our basic setup. Let's create, let's use a lifecycle hook created, and on created I want to run this get method. So this get method will be this method here that will give us all our initial posts. So how we use it? As we used our this guest object of Axios, we will have to use our, let's say, auth object that we have to create, didn't create yet, where we will use it for get blog to call our blog endpoint. So the get method doesn't expect any parameters, and therefore we can say that then method will receive a result that this post will be equal to that result data. Okay, in case we don't get we get an error, let's catch that error, and as always we do, let's get it from our sign up form. For instance, let's take this and display it like that. And for the beginning, let's also log an error response. Okay, so let's open our browser. Let me shrink it a little bit. Let's clear all the errors, and actually let's refresh the page and go to network. So what we are having here, error in created hook, type error cannot read property get of undefined. Awesome. This is awesome. So we go again to our created, this get. So what exactly am I doing wrong here? This get. Okay, let's go back to our console, to our developer tools, and see again what is the problem. So cannot read property get of undefined. How can it be undefined if it is defined? Maybe we have another error inside of our console here. No, we don't have. So we have created, we have save, update. Okay, let me comment this out. Log test. Let's refresh, and this works. So the problem is because we did not create it yet, this auth method. So I started to showing you the example and then forgot that we did not create it yet. So let's go back to our plugins and Axios. Let's copy our guest constant here, and let's just create a similar object, but slightly different. So it is not the same, it is similar. And to do that, what we have to change. So we change this to auth instead of the const, instead of the guest that we have. Or actually, let's make it API. It's I think it's more understandable. Let's make it now localhost general. So content type remains the same, but what we will do here, we will use so-called interceptors. If you're familiar with Axios, this is actually something similar as a filters in CodeIgniter. So interceptors run every time, either before request, either before the response. So what we want to do, we want to intercept the request. So before the request gets out to the internet, we want to add some properties there. So check this out. In our example, we want all the requests to use interceptors request, use. So now what they will use, config, and create a const token that we will grab from our local storage. Get item token, right? That we already have this item. And if token config headers authorization header. So this is how we call authorization header equals bearer token, because this is the type of token we are using, and we are adding a token. So it will be a string of bearer, space, and the token. So don't forget about the space here. Now return the config so that the request may continue. But what we also want to check is API interceptors response response.use, and we will say now function. This is all, guys, from the documentation of Axios, so I'm not making this up. So response return response. Now, so what this means, it's like a then and catch in a promise request. So in case we have a response, so actually if it's something meaningful, something like not meaningful, if there is no error, this response simply will be returned as a response, so that the response can be processed by our functions. But in case of an error, we want to check if error response status equals 401 store. We will store dispatch dispatch a logout method, because if we are getting 401 status code, it means that we have invalid access token. We have provided an invalid access token. So store dispatch logout. The only problem we have here, we did not import the store yet. We will do that in a bit. So if the error is not 401, so else return promise reject error. And so if it's not 401, return promise reject error goes to our function in the front end that we have specified, and we are catching this error and displaying it in our alert box, if you recall. So let's import our store. Actually we have our store here. Okay, so once we have the store, we have imported it. Yeah, so we can use it. Okay, export store was not found in VueJS. Export store was not found in VueJS. Right, because we don't want to import it from VueJS, we want to import it from store/store. So we are importing it from the store folder, the store.js file. And this makes more sense now. And right here at the bottom, let's add API and export guest API. So now if we go to our admin.view and instead of auth, let's change it to API, we know that this API is the authorized REST endpoint call. This.guest is the calls that we make when we are not authorized yet. So let's save this. Let's go back here. Let's refresh. Let's see what we've got. Our blog. So okay, we have our request. Okay, so here you go. We have all of our blogs as a response. We have just 4 of them, but still it is something. So let's display these blogs, actually, this post. So how we can do that? Because we have populated them inside of our post file, let's actually import post item from .cmp's Again, we will create a component now for this post item. Let's import this post item in our components here also. And now, let me see, this is a row that we have. This is a row. Okay, so I will grab this line here to start a new copy of the, no, let's get like that, these 3 lines. And we'll go just one div above. So like that, close the div. And this will be not post but posts. And let's display this only when post dot length is more than 0, is greater than 0. Post length. This relative module was not found. Okay, we know that because we go to components and we create this post.view file. Again, simple template for now. Simple template for now. And let's use it like this. So we have our post item. Post item that where we will have to pass again few parameters, and these few parameters would be the post object itself. But we will run, first of all, let's run it through v4. So we will say post and index in posts. Okay, so now we have our key that we have to specify whenever we are using v4, that we can say post ID will be our key. And we also want to pass some props there, such as index that will be equal to index, right? What else we need? So we need the post object that will be the post itself. So another thing that we might need is image, let's call it image placeholder that we already have. So this we will use this placeholder for the posts that don't have image, because some of them don't have it. So we have a key, we have a post, index. Okay, that is all fine. Now actually two more things we have to add here, and these are the events that we will be listening to. So we will be listening to an event delete, because this is a child component. We have to be able somehow to run the methods from the parent controller. So we will define @delete event. We will run a delete method that we already have. So the delete, we cannot use the delete as it is. So let's say delete post, and also let's change it here. So back to our post item component. Okay, and another event that we will be listening to is the edit event. So whenever this edit event will be triggered, we will want to get that specific post so that we can fill our form at the top, so that we can fill it with the data of this post. Okay, so now let's go to our post item actually, and let's create a div, give it a class row post margin bottom 5. I have some HTML here predefined. So again, let me give a div class call 12, call sm14, not 14, 4, sorry, text center. So this is text center will be used for our image that will have a class of class image fluid, and if yeah, so we will display this particular image. We'll create two instances. So the one will be if, or we can actually it will be too long that it is easier to create two image files and test it like that. So let's say that if we have post featured image equals nothing, then actually if it's not equals nothing, if it has some values, let's display HTTP. So I will define the localhost, HTTP localhost, the URL of API server, because this is where the file is stored. So assets, uploads, and then we will use this object here. So make this dynamic, wrap this in single quotes, and add a plus sign to add your post featured image. So this is in case we have a value. Else, so we can say again, we create another image object, image tag, and we say v else. The source will be simply our image placeholder. So let's pass the props that we are expecting here before we forget them. Props, the post, the key, I don't know if we actually need it, the index, we might need them actually, yeah. So index, image placeholder, of course. So this image placeholder, also make it bind source. So everything in quotes inside of our props array. And that's it for now. So now we have created our image that will be on the left side of the row. So let's continue here by adding a div class. Let's give a class call, again call 12, but call sm8, and here is where we will add an let's say h4 tag, and we will say post title, and below we will add a paragraph where we will say, where we will add our post description. So post description is ready, this is ready, and one last part of this component that we have to create is div class call 12. Let's give it a margin top, so this will be our footer with the action buttons. So let's give it a margin top 3. Create an do we need an HR here? We will see if we need a horizontal line, but for now let's create a router. So a router link that will go to, so our first button will be the view button, that will send our post to our post, yeah, so the post plus post ID. So we will be accessing our single post by the ID of that post, right? So, and this will be a router link, but let's give it also some classes to show it as a button. So btn outline success, and give it a margin right of 2. Now let's go to the next button. It will be just a simple button, again with some classes such as btn outline primary, and this will be our edit button. So once we click on this button, this will populate the form at the top. So what we want though to do here is we want on click, we want to emit an event. So this emit method actually will tell to the parent controller to execute a function, the function that we have specified. So if we want the parent controller to execute the the edit event, also we will pass here the post ID so that we know with which ID we are dealing. So post ID, and also the index of that post. Remember, we are passing this index here that we will also need to know in order to update live the instance of that post in our list, blog list. So we have this, and one more button is needed. Let's copy the primary one. Let's change it to danger. Let's make it a delete emit. Again, post ID, post index, but also add a float right. Okay, so yeah, let's add after the buttons again div class call 12 and HR, and let's see what we've got. So if we go back to our Chrome window, we are getting a syntax error. So I will remove this semicolon from here. Let's check this out. What we have here, post is not defined on the instance. So property of the method post, and where we have this admin app view length of undefined. Perfect. So the length, we have specified it in one place, and it was in admin if posts, not just one post. Okay, so as you can see, now our posts are getting displayed. So one image is missing from here, we will see why. Let's fix this view button that we did not create. So in post item again, in our router link, let's add a view post button. So refresh it. Now we have our view. Let's change the delete text again to delete. We have been logged out. I think our time has our login session has expired. So it means that it works. So I will log in again. Okay, this looks awesome. Let's see what's going on here. We have this image that is not being displayed. So localhost assets uploads image1.jpg. So, okay, I see. It is a local host, not a local host. Okay, I think I'm getting a little bit tired. So let's see where we display that. It is in our post item localhost. And let's go back to our blog. And now, yes, we can see it. So now what is left to do is actually we have to create the methods that we need to update or to create our post. And first of all, what I would like to do is let's change the order that the posts are being displayed. So for now, it is the default order. It is post ID ascending order, because we did not define nothing different in our REST API controller. So let's go to our resource blog, and here where we have a show method in our blog.php controller, sorry, not show, the index method. Let's chain this with order. So we have order. Is it order by or just an order? So let me take a quick look. Don't remember. So it is order by. So we say order by post ID. Let's make it descending so that we get the latest posts at the top. So order by descending, find all. And now if we go back to our, so as you can to our Vue app, as you can see, we have what is lorem ipsum is our first post. So let's see if this will change. Yes, it does. Okay. Now I want to create a new post, and whenever we will be creating a new post, this post will be added here at the top as the latest added post. So let me remember, did we assign an action to the create button or not? So let's go to admin, let's go to our create button. So we have this, where is it? Okay, so actually we added an submit action to our form. So then we said that in order for this method to understand if we want to create a post or update a post, we will have to check if the post ID object here, property of object, is defined or not. So if this post ID, then we know that we want to update a post. So we run this update, else we run this create. So this is the difference. Okay, so let's go first for our create method. What we want to do here is again, we will have to create a form object. So let's go to our sign up. Yeah, sign up will do. So let's take this. Actually, let's take all of this. And once we go here to create, let's paste it and let's change the fields. So the first one is our title, but also let's check out in our controller what CodeIgniter expects from us to get. So it expects a title, a description, and a featured image. So maybe the names of our fields are slightly different, so we will have to adjust them. So the title is title. Now the description, in our case, it is a content. So be aware of that. Of course, you can align all of your variables to be the same as the ones that are requested in your REST API server. Do as you wish. So, and the last one is featured image. That will be, so the featured image will be a slightly different approach. So for because VueModel cannot track the images and it does not support input type file, we will get it in a bit different way. So in order to access the image file that we try to upload, we say, maybe you remember we added the refs attribute to our image input file. So we say refs featured image, and then we are able to access the files. And because we are uploading only one, so the files there are in the files property of the featured image is an array of different files that we could upload in case we would like to upload multiple files. So in our case, because we want just one, we are sure that we want the files with index 0. So we can remove these two fields because we don't need them. We have to change our guest to the API. Our post endpoint we will change to blog. Actually to blog. Nothing else is needed. So, and here now we will go and create. So let's see this message. Yeah, we need a message. So let's say post has been created. Now a class alert will be success. Delete the rest and let's add now this post unshift. So the unshift method will add a post item to the beginning of the posts array that we have here. So the unshift method adds a value to the beginning of the array, and we will say res.data because we are getting back our post instance. We can add it directly to the existing post array. Although we might make some changes in CodeIgniter from the CodeIgniter side. So this, then we want to run this cancel. So if you remember, this cancel will clean all of our database. Sorry, not the database. All of our will clean our form. And the only problem that we have here, if we will run this cancel, it will also nullify the message and the class alert. So what we can do, let's create a new variable inside of our cancel method. And not created, cancel. Okay, this. So let's say error show equals, or actually let's say alert show equals false. So it will be false by default. And if no alert show, then also clean these variables here, so nullify them. Otherwise, so yeah, as it is in our case when we create a post that we pass a true value here, this message in this class alert will remain intact. In this way, we will be able to see the post has been created successfully message while removing all the rest from the form. So, okay, we have created this. Let's save it. So we have one error here. Let's see what it is. Error in post item modules, exactly one element. Okay, so we have some HTML issues in our post item. So let's see what is the issue here. Okay, everything looks fine. Okay, I was watching some older messages, I think. We have another error here. So admin.view, res is not defined, line 114. 114, res is not defined because here in our then method we don't return res. So let's do it. Let's see what's going on now. Okay, let's open also developer tools, refresh to clean all the errors. So I will use my form filler and let's see if we get anything. I'm not changing the image for now. Yeah, we're still getting this key here issue. Keys reserved attribute and cannot be used as component prop. Okay. Okay. So do we use it in post item? Do we use this key? No, we don't use it. So we don't even need it here as a prop. Let's remove it. Okay, we got signed out again. Let me check password. Login. Okay, and let's use again form filler. I will clear all the errors from the console, create, and we are getting our error. Let me see the XHR tab now displays nothing. So we have post of undefined. So we are getting to the create method at line 109. Let's see what's going on line 109 in our admin component. Okay, so I have this double dollar sign. Let's try again. Form filler, create. Again, this might be some old methods. Okay, so now we will see in a network tab that actually we have to specify a featured image that we don't specify, that we did not change yet. Okay, that is fine. The problem is why we don't see our errors displayed. So error response data messages error. And let me see the structure of the error inside of our response. So we have messages. Yeah, there is no error property. It is directly messages. So back here. Actually, we have to go to our CodeIgniter here, and if you remember, as we did in users controller, we have to implode all of our errors so that we get them as an array. So let's select this validator get errors. Let's find all the similar ones with a Control D or Command D and replace it with this. Now let's go back to the our view. I will bring back again this error property of the messages. Let's refresh to clean up the logs. So let me remove the warnings, don't need them. And let's use form filler, create, and now we see featured image is not a valid upload file. Okay, that's fine, because in our resource controller blog, the featured image is a required field, as we specified in the create function. Therefore, we have to add it also. So let's try and see what we can do here. So once the file is changed, I can see that we have created the console log the event, and it does the event indeed gets triggered. So the only thing that is left to do is to change what this to change the preview URL actually. So let me go back here to the admin where this happens. So we have this update preview that we created earlier, and what we can say is const file equals event target event.target files 0. So it is similar to the refs that we have specified here. So so we have the target, then we get the files 0, and this will be our file. And now using this file, we can say this image equals URL. So this is a little bit of vanilla JavaScript here. Create object URL, and we pass our file inside here. So let's see what this does to us. Let's go here and say, so you see now, even without updating without uploading an image, we can already see the preview, and this could be a really good user experience. So let's use also form filler to add some data in our fields. Open debug, clean everything, and let's click create. And now post has been created and our article has been added to the post list. So if we refresh now, the article remains here. So this is a very positive thing. Let's go now and edit one of our posts. So in order to edit our post, first of all, we will have to get it. And let me open our project back. So here we are. And what we say here on edit, actually on edit click, we emit the edit event. Then on let me see where we have this, where we have it specified, the edit event listener. Here it is. So on edit, we are running the get post. So let's see what's going on with our get post. So here we have our get post, and as you can see here, we are passing two parameters for it. So it is, the first one is the post ID, the second one is the index, that where the index represents the index inside the posts object. So let's say post ID is our first variable, and then we have post index is our second variable. Now what we can say, first of all, let's cancel everything. So in case we have something else in our form on the top, first of all we want to clean the form. So then this, let me see what we have here. This post index. Do we need it? No. So let's use it a little bit different. So this API. No, actually this post. Remember we were saying about the post ID. So now let's add another variable, also the post index. We will need it also to be publicly available. So let's say post index. And now when we are getting our post, I want post ID and post index to be changed. So post ID, post index. And before I forget, let me add post index also to the cancel method. So cancel, also null. So get post. So okay, now we're good to go. So this API get, let's say blog plus ID. This get blog plus ID, this is good. Let's bring it one line down. Now let's create a then response. For sure we will get some sort of a result, or we will say this title will be res data post title. This is how we get it from the database with this post title column name. So the content equals res data post description, and our let's create a var image, because we will run our tests now that if the image is a valid image or if it's empty. So let's store it in a variable. We say res data post, I think it is a post featured image, and now we say if image is not equals nothing, then we can say that this image equals HTTP local host, not localhost as the last time, assets uploads plus image. Okay, else this image equals nothing. Okay, so we have specified this post ID, and another thing that we can do is, because imagine if you Imagine if you are somewhere here at the bottom and you click edit. So for sure what you want to do is to scroll back up automatically. So let's say window, scroll 0, 0. Let's see our errors. We have then error. Okay, so after get, remove this semicolon. Another error now. Error ID is not defined where it is, so 142. Of course it's not defined because we are using post ID, not ID. Let's save again. Okay, now it looks fine. So let's check this out. So if we click edit, open our developer tools, let's click edit, and looks quite nice. So let's go and edit image 3 perfectly. This here also looks fantastic. So our edit function, not edit, actually getting the post is ready, and now it's time to update the post. So back to our control, to our component, where we update the post. So what do we need here? It is actually, I guess, similar to create. So let's take this for as a base. These errors, let me bring it a bit down a little bit. So we have our title, we have our description, we have our featured image, and we also have the post ID that is still defined after we clicked on the get post. So we have this post ID defined, so we can access it inside of our update method. This is good because to update we want to run blog update plus this post ID. This post has been updated. The difference here will be that in the update method, the featured image is not a required field. So what we can say is that, let's take this and let's say if this dot length is greater than 0, then let's append this field. Otherwise, not a big issue. And if you remember, it was also in the tutorial of when we were creating a CodeIgniter REST API server, where featured image on update was optional, because in some cases we don't want to change the image, we want to leave it as it is. So to avoid uploading the image each and every time, this is what we could do. So now this API update runs smoothly, and instead of unshifting the data here, what we want to do is we want to access, remember again from the get post, this post index. So by getting this post index, we can specify which array item inside the posts object we want to update. So it will be res.data, and this cancel true, we'll leave it as it is. Okay, so let's just check. Let's just check for the errors. So post index is not defined. Okay, perfect, because it is this post index. And while we are running this post index, let's take this. So let's edit our friend here, update. So as you can see, as a response, we got the post ID, post title, post description, but no image, and therefore the image has been lost here. So this is the issue from CodeIgniter side. So let's go back to our blog.php controller and let's check the update method. So the update method, as you can see here, the data it returns, so if file name is not empty, if file name is not empty, actually in any case we want to return, so we run this save, and then what we can do, instead of actually we have to get the new data now from the database, but we can use our show method from within our update method. Instead of duplicating the same code that we already have inside of our show method, we can run this method straight right from the update method and delete this response here. So once we saved our data, we say return this show ID, which will actually get the post object and will return the data of it. So let's see if it works. Let's refresh. Okay, we are getting some errors I see here, and the errors are okay. So how is that happening? Because authorization, this looks fine. Let me just refresh. From origin, localhost 8080 has been blocked by core policy. Response to pre-flight request doesn't pass access control check. App view 153. So let's see what's going on in our app admin 153. Okay, this is just an error object that doesn't have the properties that we expect the error to have. So why are we getting the course error if we already fixed it? Let's just restart XAMPP here and let me try again. This makes no sense at this point. Oh, okay. So let me bring back this respond, and let's see if this is what causes the problem. Very interesting. So we have limited our requests to be accessed only by localhost 8080. So okay, if we cannot do that, let's take this model and just return the new data. We can use, of course, the old data and find the post image ID, but in case the image ID was not updated, we don't want to lose it. We will not get it back. Therefore, we have to get the full object from within the database. So this should do the trick also. Okay, so let's edit again, update, and yeah, this looks fine now. So let's try and update an image. Let's take this guy here, let's add this guy, update, and also looks fine. So let's add an image here to this post that has no image. Let's add this girl. Okay, so this looks fine. Now if we want to actually, we are done with updating a post, and I think the only thing we have left inside of this inside of admin.view is the delete method that we didn't create yet. Exactly. So the delete post also will accept an ID, and what it will do, it will run this API, but instead of get we will define the delete. This will be the same, and then and catch. So in case of our delete, let's set the messages. So this MSG equals post has been deleted. This is the first thing. This class alert, let's set it to warning. This cancel, let's say true, so that we keep our messages in place. And also window scroll, let's say 0, 0, so that if we delete a post at the bottom, we can go up and see the confirmation message. So let's take this part from here, also add it to the delete catch error method, and error display blah blah blah. Good. Again, we are having some errors. What is not defined? Something will not be defined. Error ID is not defined. ID. Okay, now we are good. So yeah, of course, once we clicked on the delete, what we also want to do is, so delete post, yeah, we need an index also here, so because otherwise we will not be able to remove it from the posts array that we have. Posts, so splice index 1, and let me check for the post item. So we have delete, yeah, exactly. So we emit the delete event, and we pass the post ID and the index. So this should work fine. Okay, let's go and try to delete a post. Let me open this. Let's clean everything. So delete. Post has been deleted. Refresh. Looks fine. Let's go and delete. Let's go delete this one. Also looks fine. So now let's create a post to see if everything still works. Create a new post. If you are still with me, please subscribe. So guys, first of all, if you have reached up until this point, you are ahead of a 95% of other developers. So if you're let's choose an image here, avatar, create, and yes, we are getting. So the only thing is left is to view our post. And how we can do that? Really simply by going to our admin. So we have update, delete, get. So actually we have to go to our routes.js. Let's import the post and post. Let's copy this first route here below, and we will say that we have a post, and we will define a dynamic part of this post that will be the ID of that post. So the component will be post, and the name will be post. And once we define that, we can go and say to, I think that we have defined the URLs already. So yeah, if we go to view, we see our single post. Exactly. So what we have to do is actually to create our single post HTML. So let's go here to post. Let's delete this, and let's grab the post item because it is kind of the same. Let's paste it here. We will not need props. We will replace these props with our own values from the data. So return placeholder, image placeholder. Let's set the default that it was HTTP via placeholder.com/300. So this is our default placeholder. What we will need here is methods for sure to get our post. So let's say get, and we need the ID of that post. So to get the ID, we can get it from our routes, route. So if we say var ID, to access the routes parameters, we say route params.id, and this will get the ID from the ID of the post. So now what we can do, of course, is this API blog /+id, and this, sorry, we've missed the get, and now we can say then expect for the result to come back with our post object. And once we get that result, let me add also a catch method here, error. like that. I will copy these two awesome lines from here. Actually, regarding the error at this page specifically, of course we could create some 404 errors or error or whatever, but this tutorial is not about the customizing the VueJS. So what I will do is I will just console log error.response. But in this case here, if everything is successful, we will say this post equals res data. So once we have this defined, once we have our post, first of all, let's say at the top, do not display it if actually only to display it if post is defined. So if it is not false as it is at the very beginning. And now we will have post featured image. Everything remains the same, with the only difference we don't need all of these action buttons. Let's remove the last two and leave only the router link, where we say that let's navigate to the home page, again to the admin page, so it doesn't need to be dynamic, and we say all posts. We can remove this horizontal line also, and let's check out what we have. So, any errors? Any errors? Let's see. Okay, yeah, we never call the method, and what we have to do is, of course, add a created hook, a created lifecycle hook, where we will execute this get method. So let's check it now. Okay, now it looks now it looks at least it displays the post. Maybe what we can do is go to admin.view at the very top, grab this line of code, these classes. Let's go to views. Let's go to post.view and add it here. Is that right? No. So what we need is some margin at the top, margin top, padding top, padding bottom, background white, form wrapper. Yeah, so yeah, like this it looks much better. So let's check if we can go back to our post. Let's log out and let's try everything from the beginning. Password, login. We see all of our posts with images. We can create it. New super post. Some awesome comments and descriptions. We're adding our file here. Create. Post has been created. It has moved to the top. So guys, I hope you liked this tutorial. I hope that it delivered to your expectations. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always use the comment section. I will try to answer as much as I can. So thank you all for your time. I know it was a long tutorial. You invested a lot of your time. So thank you very much for staying up until the end, and see you in the next tutorials. Bye bye.